Party seized power, was he really a dictator?
No. In fact, he was 3 times elected in free elections at which foreign observers gave the elections a clean bill of health. Furthermore, in National Socialist Germany there was a system that the Americans and the Europeans would eat their hearts out. This is called plebiscite, or if you like, another name is referendum. For instance, any major factors affecting the nation were referred to the people, and they were invited to vote on the issue. For instance, when on 3 different occasions the Austrians and the people of the Sudetenland and the Tsar wished to become part of the Reich, the German people were asked if they wanted these nations to be part of the Reich community. They did, of course. Were we ever invited to vote whether we wanted immigration or any of the other things that vex us in the West? No, we don't get plebiscites, we don't get referendum, but they got them and they were quite used to them in Hitler's Germany.
Was Adolf Hitler popular, Mike?
A good question, Jamie. World War II is dubbed the War of the Dictators. Well, let us look at the facts. England's Winston Churchill was never ever elected to be the Prime Minister of England. He was parachuted in after elected Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain was removed from office in a parliamentary push, a coup. The Soviet Union's Joe Stalin, of course, like Churchill, was never elected in his life. Like Churchill, Stalin was contemptuous of the electoral system. Okay, America's President Franklin D. Roosevelt was narrowly elected, but on his own wife's admission, his tenure was based on a lie. He promised, as the Americans were going to the polls, he promised the American people that if he was elected, he would never involve America in a European war. So, trusting him, the American voters elected Roosevelt. He broke his promise to keep America out of the war, and most people know that Pearl Harbor was a consequence of the White House conspiracy to force war on Japan, an ally of National Socialist Germany. The ruse brought the United States into a conflict which harvested many dead American servicemen, but it brought fantastic profits for the armaments industry and the US congressmen and senators who had invested in these vile industries. They did the same in Cuba, the Bay of Pigs, and they used a similar black flag operation to engage in the Vietnam War, and more recently 9/11. If anybody thinks that Arabs carried out this attack on 9/11, then really they've got their head too far into the comics. Now, is that democracy? Is that the democracy that we want, Jamie? But to get back to your question, the reality is that the only wartime leader who could prove to be democratically elected was Adolf Hitler. Crime, where you are, is on the rise. You're worried about uncontrolled immigration. The price of healthcare is rocketing. Your German visitor from the 1930s, National Socialist Germany, really does at this point have to sit down, as this is all quite new to him. He prefers the National Socialist way of going about things. In National Socialist Germany, a voting system known as referendum gave the people, not the government, opportunity to vote yes or no on major issues that affected the nation. They don't do referendum in the supposedly democratic West. You can't figure out why Hans is not comfortable with your version of democracy. After all, living in one, you get the chance to vote every 5 years. Hans asks, why wait 5 years? In National Socialist Germany, we rate the performance of our political leaders every 12 months. Your guest is deep in thought. He concludes that your political parties are like 2 football teams. You support one or the other of these 2 teams, and while you're distracted, those who buy and control these sports teams and their players stay in the background. Your puzzled German visitor thinks Republican and Democrat, Conservative and Labour, Punch and Judy. It is a pretend fight, but you, the audience, can't see who is controlling the puppets.